DPS, not even swinging your sword. So I was like, okay, I got that. Then I'm like, I wonder how many guys I can literally kill with with my Dragon Knight. I jumped in, did my carve with my two-handed sword. I did 4 bat swarms on top of each other. So 1, 5 seconds later, another one, another one, another one. And then the Dragon Knight, I know, gets a passive bonus to increase their health, magic, and stamina by 30% as soon as you use an ultimate. So not only does Bat Swarm heal me, I heal to full, get basically full magic and stamina every time it's up. Wonder why that's overpowered. And once I realized that, it got really boring killing everything without dying over and over and over. So I decided I'm going to try the Templar. Now, I hate healing. Why? Because I'm the meathead Rambo tank guy. But I'm going to do it so I can understand. It looks kind of fun. So I started playing it. Wow, Templar's bad. It really is. I'm sorry. It's the most underpowered, non-fun class I maybe have ever played in MMO. Now, I got it to 15. It just does not... It's not fun for me. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Like, it doesn't do anything fun, interesting, comparatively to the Sork or the Nightblade. Like, it's like, well, what does it do? It heals well, but DPS was just like, even these solo boss fights, I was potting and almost dying over and over. And I was like, I never had this much trouble on any of my other characters. So, sorry if you're Templar, I don't like it. It's not for me. That doesn't mean to say it's not good or fun or whatever. So that's really my experiment, playing vampires, doing that. I have to give a shout out to Elder Scrolls Online, I guess. As you know, I've been complaining all my guides haven't been getting posted on there, and then they retweeted my latest guide on vampirism because I had so much fun with it. I wrote a guide real quick, and I'll probably do a video guide on it. So they retweeted that, so thanks. That was cool. Got 1 million more followers, and yeah, so really, I've just been putting around, trying different stuff. Cannot wait for this patch to hit, so that way my gear gets straight, and we can start doing some more veteran content. Still haven't beat Crypto Hearts. That was really hard, and got through I think 5 bosses out of like 8 or 9. Well, I'm waiting to finish that, and so yeah, I'm just having fun playing different alts, waiting for the game to get more content that suits my playstyle. Yep, that's about it.
Nice. Now, before we get into anything else, I want to say this. Deltia, maybe you and I should complain a little bit more about, man, we'd really love to have an Elder Scrolls Online dev on the show at some point. If you ever want to go on our show. If we complain enough, they might just come on the show.
That would be cool. Yeah.
I think we should really aim for that. We should both start sending emails.
Right.
As being the lore person on this show, it would be so amazing to have another lore person to talk to on our show. How awesome would that be?
If we get Lawrence Schick on the show, I'm just going to have to shut the show down because we'll never get any higher than that. That is the epitome of any show could ever do.
Is that the guy with
Lawrence Schick?
Is that the guy with the white beard or whatever?
The white beard, the little curly beard. That guy's a little bit like Cadwell. Yeah.
That guy looks like a lore guy.
Lore pronunciations. That would be amazing. I think I'd faint and swoon over the desk.
I think that would just have to be it. All other podcasts would have to shut down because no one could ever hit that level right there. That would be it. That would be it. All right, now, I kind of want to get into this a little bit with you. Can you tell me a little bit about why you don't like the Templar? I'm kind of curious.
I can tell you a million different reasons. Here, let me explain. So if you go look at the first of all, Templar's passives are atrocious bad. Atrocious. The Nightblade hits the hardest, has a passive for it. The Dragon Knight can build ultimate out of combat, and using the ultimate gives you health, stamina, magic. Huge. The Sork has ability, I think their passive is, more damage, or you get a self-heal off of using abilities. Huge. What does the Templar have? You can heal more when people are low. Yep, I'm waiting for the pause. There's nothing. Abilities. Dragon Knight. Talons. Locks everyone down. Amazing. Nightblade. I can stun lock anyone, and I can go invis when I need to. Sork. Every critical hit is a self-heal. Amazing. Templar. I can do a heal once in a while. I mean, the comparison is there's nothing interesting about it. It's not fast. It can't stealth. It doesn't have any, basically a finisher like the Sork and the Nightblade. It's just uninspired to me. The combat doesn't feel unique. You're too dependent on your weapons abilities versus your natural passives and abilities. It's just not fun to me. Does that make sense?
It really does. It really does. And knowing a little bit about the other classes, I mean, like you said, a lot of the passives are passive boost to heals. I think like the one thing for Templars is under Adric's Shield, they have a passive that increases the amount of damage that they block, which is helpful. Honestly, that's why in that you looked at my final build. You ever wonder why my DPS build only has one ability from the Templar line?
Exactly.
Sweeping. That's one. Now, someone in chat's like Nova. Nova is very powerful. I do agree.
It takes a million ultimate or a standard.
That's why I haven't been using it. It's because it takes so much to build up. I was having more fun with the. I'll do more damage with not Nova because that's an AOE, but I'll do more damage if I just use a Soul Assault. That thing just rips through and it's only 150. I think Nova's like what?
250.
600 or something like that.
No, it's like 250, I think, and there's no like passive reduction either.
No. And honestly, a lot of Templars don't have a lot of things to gain ultimate other than Carve, which is a two-handed weapon ability.
It's a weapon ability. Now, I will say this. Luminous Shards is amazing. Templars are amazing at group support. That's not my playstyle. I hate it. I'm not group support guy. I am Rambo and B meathead dude. That's me. I'm not that. But if you really like a passive kind of lay back, help your team, great. Otherwise, it's just doesn't bring a whole lot to the table, in all honesty. Every other class does something better than it. That's my point.
Right. And I do love Luminous. Whenever I run a VR dungeon or something like that, I am like the best friend of any tank because I drop Luminous Shards directly on top of them.
Stamina.
And then they can use that synergy for the stamina. Yeah.
And
I'm
magic.
Your best friend.
and magic if you morph it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, but the worst part is, I would love that if I could benefit from my own synergy. That would solve a lot of my stamina problems if I could benefit from my own synergy.
But you don't have any you don't have a standard. You don't have a Nightblade that hits 15% harder than anyone. You don't have a finisher. It's like you know what I'm saying? It's just lacking that. What the hell? Nova's great. Has a stun. It's awesome. But you use it once every 5 fights. That's not a standard. You can use 2 of them in a fight. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like it baffles me how quickly people can use standard stuff when I'm trying to use Nova. That's why I moved it off my bar because it just takes too long to build up.
Well, and the reason is because of the passives. Dragon Knights get huge ultimate regeneration because if you use these abilities, it gives you 2 right off the bat. And you can use your healing staff to build ultimate out of combat. So all Dragon Knights basically if you're good, have a standard up before combat even starts. And then once you get going and throw a couple dots out with talons, boom, you're right back up at another standard. Now, it's just like, I couldn't find anything unique and fun to do with a Templar. I sat with ESO Head for like hours before I went to bed, just reading, looking at every single passive, looking at every single morph, going, what little interesting thing I could do. I built a Sork that was dual wield. No one was doing that. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but it wasn't a very popular build. Now people are trying it and loving it. I built a Dragon Knight with a 2-hander. People thought that was kind of fun. I was like, what can I do with the Templar? I couldn't figure anything out. Not to say that it's not great or whatever. Just for me, it was baffling the difference between the other classes in it. I don't know. That's my take on it. I don't want to say don't ever play a Templar. It just does not suit me.
I still love my Templar, and as I said, we don't ever have to worry about the nerf bat. Not like you guys who are like, are trembling every time a patch comes out. Like, are they going to touch me? No? Okay, good, we're safe. No, it's like, I don't care if they touch me. It's got to be a buff. So I love my Templar, but I do agree. Like, I know one of the things which makes them one of the better. Like, they do heals better than almost anyone else, except for one thing in particular, is because they have a essentially an oh crap heal, which is Breath of Life or whatever, or Rush Ceremony. It's one of the only pretty much direct heals in the game. That's really, really powerful, but it's not at all magicka efficient. And this changed a long time ago. There was a passive called, what is it? Crap, I can't remember. It's a Restoring Light passive. It's the very last one in the tree, where it like reduces the cost of all of our abilities by like 2% or something like that. It used to be a somewhat active ability that there went a truck that would had a chance to restore large sums of magicka back to you, and it was an amazing ability. But they nerfed that really hard. Restoring Spirit, that's what it's called. Restoring Spirit. They nerfed it to just passively reduce all of our spell costs by X amount. Before, it was a chance to actually recover magicka back, and it was really powerful.
Wow.
Like it was, I think it was like 25 or 50% chance whenever you cast a spell to refund like 10% of its cost or something like that. And that's what it used to be. And then they nerfed it to passively reduces 2 or 4% of base spell cost of any ability.
Yeah.
That was like a 90% nerf to our magicka regeneration. We have nothing now other than Mage's Guild. Like we have no ways of benefiting in any way because they nerfed that, and they nerfed that hard.
Yeah,
right before the game launched.
Nightblades have what? They have Siphoning Strike, which I'm using right now, just for I'll do it real quick. So I can get magic, health, and stamina back. Then you got Sorks have trade stamina for magic. Both those things are completely overpowered. The Templar doesn't have it. So your resource management is atrocious in comparison to some of the other classes.
Absolutely. It really is. It is. And that I will agree with. Our magicka regeneration is, like, we don't even have base abilities. Like, I know Sorcerer has, what is it, Dark Exchange or something like that to help regenerate?
No, Dark Exchange is the active ability that you trade stamina for magic.
Right. Well, we have nothing like that. I think the closest we have to that, again, benefits the group more than does us. It is Radiant Aura. Yeah, something like that. Something Aura. That when it's socketed, it gives us like 15% bonus stamina and magicka or stamina and health regeneration. But whenever we use it, it gives all of our allies like 300%. Yeah. But I don't think it benefits us. Well, like, I haven't noticed it benefit me.
That was the one interesting ability that I wanted to try to morph it into that takes the corpses. I was going to use Bat Swarms and use that to self-heal, but yeah, I flipped out and rage quit before that happened.
Yeah, Templar is definitely a very hard class to level. I see TS Fangirl in the chat was saying that resource management is terrible on a Templar. It is. I'll say that. It really is. It's hard. The resource management I have are potions. If I don't have a potion, I don't have resources. There's no way for me to really passively do it. And Kypster said they used to have a pretty nice stamina recovery ability just by doing damage. Yeah, that was that Restoring Spirit, because it used to be anytime you did damage or something like that, you had a chance to restore your resources, but that was nerfed hard. That was nerfed really hard. So, yeah, I guess the next thing we can talk about our tales a little bit. What have we been doing? And no, I already did those.
Oh, okay.
Tell us a little bit about things, what you've been doing in ESO. You can tell us whatever we were doing this week, and I'm going to touch on some other stuff.
Okay, well, first of all, I decided that I'm going to start working on my daggers, but I haven't actually been fighting with them. I'm waiting till I level them up a little bit, so whenever I go to turn in a quest, I switch to my daggers, and voila, they level a little bit. But I'm kind of starved for skill points, so I have no skill points to use in my now level 18 dual wield.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do have to make this little public service announcement. When Update 3 launches, respecs are 1 gold.
Ooh.
That Update 3 comes out, it's 1 gold to do full respecs. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
I plan on respecking a few things, too, during that first week, because it's 1 gold.
And then will it raise after that?
It's going to raise. I think after the first week, they said they're going to put it back up to... They're going to raise it back up, but it might not be the same cost it is now. I think they're going to lower it as a whole, they're going to lower it down. But yeah, for the first week at least, all respecs are 1 gold.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so if you want to do your respec and you've been waiting, tomorrow when the patch goes live is the time to do it.
I hope our download will allow us to use that benefit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Other than just the daggers, I don't think I've done anything new. I haven't been dying nearly as much, and I've been using my skills more effectively.
Nice.
Yes, it's been really nice. I'm glad that I haven't been dying. It's something that's very new to me.
The Phase drinking game might not go so well.
No, if we did the East drinking game, we'd all be drunk within the first 20 minutes.
You know what? Yeah. Next time I should be the one streaming, and then we can play every time Thais dies. People can drink.
We'll never make it through an episode. Okay, so now I know we've been kind of playing a little bit around in Glen Umbra some more. Haven't been doing a whole lot.
Sorry, I was choking on my mint.
Wow.
We need to edit that part out.
Nope, that's staying in. I've been actually leveling my restoration staff because now we hit veteran rank 2 and we're probably about 15% into that. I've been leveling my restoration staff, and I just got the ability regeneration to play with because I'm trying to level that up a little bit, and I'm liking that. I really am. It's kind of neat for a healer perspective. Again, I'm gonna have to try to figure out how I'm gonna do Magicka regeneration and things of that nature on my Templar, but that's where I'm currently sitting now. I guess. We haven't done a whole lot in Glen Umbra, but one thing that was kind of neat that I think we found. What was the thing that you found in that book?
Oh, we were in some random dungeon. I actually had to twit it.
Twit it.
Oh no.
I know. I twitted it. That's what I did, and it was in this book talking about Spriggans, and anyone who follows me on Twitter already knows what it is. But the book was talking, like the first part of the book was talking about how little kids would pick on Spriggans, and they would say this one joke that I absolutely adored. I think it's now going to be my catchphrase. But the joke was, guess what?
What?
Spriggan butt. I absolutely adored it, and I had to twit it immediately.
Oh my goodness gracious. All right, well, yeah, so she was doing that, and I know we made our way, as I'm looking at the map of Glen Umbra, we didn't really push too far out. I know we kind of went off a little bit. Last week we were playing pretty much around Daggerfall City itself, and we went north a little bit and took care of some harpy nests that were in the area. And then we kind of went back into the city and did the delve and the public dungeon, which was a lot of fun. Now this week we kind of started spreading out. We headed east and we saved a farm, like a logging mill type thing, and we started heading north from there. And we've been playing through that area a lot with the weird witches and stuff like that. Not weird as in W-E-R-D, it's W-Y-R-D. Weird. A lot of those guys hanging out in Daggerfall. A lot of paganism going on.
I really enjoyed them. I felt like if I lived in the Elder Scrolls universe, I would be an Argonian who was a member of the Weird Sisters.
You just want to live in a giant tree.
I really do. That tree was beautiful and just huge.
Now, one of the neatest things that I've been playing at, one of the zones that I really liked, is we were kind of messing around the city Aldcroft a little bit. And it's not really much of a city as much as it is a little bit of an outpost. But there's a whole bunch of people fleeing from all the werewolves that sat Camlorn. And we've been having a lot of fun in there. Like, we've been trying to go through that area, and we lost the guy. Because we had to have a guy who's supposed to capture the werewolf, so we had to beat them down. But we ventured too far out of the area, and she ran away. So we're like, why are we not getting captured? And then we realized we failed the quest, and we had to go back and get her again. And then, of course, I Deltia, as much as I do play a Templar, but I play like you, the whole I'm pulling everything kind of thing. That's why when you saw my build, that's why I specifically had it that way. I meant I'm pulling everything kind of guy. So I decided, hey, I think we can duo this, what is it, the Wolf's Den? Or the Wolf... Oh, it's a world boss zone. 3 werewolves.
Oh, well, they were 3 people, and neither one of us realized that they would transform. So when we're standing there, I put on my healing staff, and I'm thinking, yeah, we'll be fine. Just make sure you use your abilities correctly, and I'll try and heal you. And we run up and we start attacking. Everything's going good. Then all of a sudden, all 3 of them simultaneously shift into werewolf form. And that's pretty much when Ag and I both went, maybe we should run. Because there was no way we were going to be able to do that. And then things got even worse when we turned around and there was an anchor right there that was active. And there was only 2 of us. And we thought the same thing. Maybe we should run because we can't duo an entire anchor.
Yeah, we didn't do it. We died.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
We died pretty hard. So yeah, that's what we've been excuse me, we've been really messing around with in Daggerfall. I've been trying to do a push to finish off Glen Umbra and move on to the next zone, but I haven't really had too much of a chance. Now with that saying, I think that's going to be the end of our tales here for the actual story of what we've been doing in game. Now outside of game, however, I've been playing around with if anyone's noticed on the official Tales of Tamriel site, I have started an Aggelos' Saga blog. And the first blog post I wrote was actually kind of like a little bit of draw because people have been asking me what I've been running. And so I wrote up and I've been working on a final build, if you will. And thankfully, Deltia schooled me in where I was going wrong. But if you're interested in looking at it, it is on talesoftamriel.com. You can help critique it and tell me what I picked wrong. And I did want to go over this a little bit just because I liked... Deltia sent me this awesome email and we went over a little bit about what I was going on, and I thought it was really helpful, especially for people who had a very similar build to myself. Now, a little bit of preamble here. I'm playing a mostly DPS centric melee Templar and aiming mostly at PvE related events. So what I wanted was a heavy hitting powerhouse that had a little bit of survivability to it, kind of like the hybrid roles. So he went 49 in health, because that seems to be the only way to do anything in this game. 2 pieces of heavy and 5 pieces of the medium armor. Now, with this, other than Mundus Stone, we talked about this. What Mundus Stone do you actually suggest, Deltia, as a whole?
Well, are you tanking or what? I mean,
this is going to be a melee DPS.
You got to do the thief. Period.
Thief.
You have to, and you have to use Mundus Stone. I would say Mundus Stone on your traits too, because if you do Mundus Stone on 3 out of 7, you'll get 6% extra crit to melee. So if you're doing that, I mean there's no diminishing returns on crit. You gotta just go for it.
Full thief, nice. Yeah, because I'm kind of going with that because of all the bonuses you also get from the medium armor tree. That's what I've been going for. And with that being said, like yeah, definitely a melee. Now, my first bar is two-handed greatsword. I love the two-handed greatsword. Some people will complain about it, but I really like it. Now, the first builds I have on here was Carve, because that's the only morph to really do. I mean, the other one is nice for... It's almost like a tanking thing, but why would you be tanking with a two-handed weapon? You know what I mean? Like, damage you do becomes a damage shield. Well, that's an amazing tanking ability if only it was not on a two-handed weapon. I guess that would be a nice solo build if you really want survivability from solo, but it doesn't really benefit much in the long run if you're doing anything other than solo. I picked Wrecking Blow because of the bonus that it does after the next attack. But I'll say this, even in PvE, I hate the ability. The cast time is the thing that I hate the most. If it didn't have a cast time, I'd say it's probably the ability you really can not do without. but it's a 2-second cast time to do this, and it's
bad.
I debated a lot about this ability. I really, really did. Even during playstyle, I don't actually use it that often unless I need to CC somebody. Now, it does kind of synergize well with the next ability I have, Critical Rush, because it's always does critical damage, which is a plus, and deals damage, bonus damage based on how far away you are. But you can kind of couple that, because when you do Wrecking Blow, it knocks them back, and it puts them in perfect range for Critical Rush. So you hit that and then Critical Rush, and that's pretty much a guaranteed way to get at least one critical. And it does a lot. And then, of course, Executioner, because that's the only execute ability Templars have, and it doesn't even come from Templar abilities. But at low damage, like when you get them down to roughly about... when you get them down about 20%, just start spamming that ability, and it does a lot of damage. It also has a passive bonus, the one that I did, Executioner, that all your weapon abilities deal 18% more damage when they're under 25% health. So it passively benefits everything else you do. And then, of course, the Templar ability, Puncturing Strikes, or Puncturing Sweep, because the other one, I guess, is beneficial because it actually... Anyone in the execution range, you get 70% crit to, which is nice, but I don't know. I like the actual heal you get from this other one. And of course, Flawless Dawnbreaker. I hear this one actually kind of sucks as an ultimate, unless you're fighting Daedra or Undead.
Well, the passive,
but the passive is the main reason why I have it on there, because the weapon abilities deal an additional 13% damage. So now my secondary bar, I kind of went with a full healing bar, because that was meant to be my, I'm in trouble, let's swap to it and heal up and do some damage, because I guess apparently the restoration staff is the single target damage king currently. And I've been fighting with the ultimate, but I probably would do something similar to Soul Assault, because that is like an amazing ultimate for damage. And with instant weapon swap coming here soon, it doesn't matter if I have to swap over, do Soul Assault, and swap right back to my two-handed. It works pretty well. So that's my current build. Now, Deltia, you talked a little bit with me about where you saw faults, and I really wanted you to highlight some of these things, because I think it's good for people who are building similar to what I'm doing.
Okay. Well, I applaud anyone for putting out what they're doing out there, because I know personally it's hard, and believe me, I don't have any perfect builds or anything either. It's just getting some other perspective is usually good for anyone. And so my perspective from the build was, what are you trying to do? It doesn't seem like you're really committing one way or another. If you're doing veteran rank dungeon stuff, it's okay to have an off healer, but pick something you really want to focus on, whether it's tanking, DPS, or heals. Your build seemed to rely too much on stamina for damage on the first bar, and then rely too much on magic on the second one. So it was like a mix between, basically you need 2 to 3 stamina abilities and then 2 to 3 magic abilities to really be effective, in my opinion. Unless you're doing full 7 Destro Staff cookie cutter build. And so for healing, you really only need 2 heals. You need the healing springs, which everyone can spam, which is basically you're the best heal in the game. And then your whatever the restoring light or whatever the Templar one is, the oh crap heal. Those 2 alone are good enough. And then my thing was, you had a bunch of abilities to give you magic. You had more than 1. I'm like, you don't need more than 1 because you're not a primary healer. What you need is more crit. Mage's Light, if you're using magic, you have to use Mage's Light. You have to. It's 20% critical. 20%. There's no diminishing returns. Yes, it takes up an ability. Yes, that's kind of crappy. But the amount of damage or healing that provides is enormous in comparison to what you'd lose out on. So not having that alone would really hurt your heals per second. So what else? Basically, you need maneuverability, and when I was doing high-end DPS for other games, there's a little principle called time on target. Time on target means, as a DPS, every second you should be hitting something. Every second you're not hitting hitting something, you're bad. You're wrong. And so if you're using a two-hander, it looks cool and it's fun, kind of like my melee build here, but in real veteran rank content, there's big red circles that you have to get out of and you can't avoid. So what happens? Your time on target goes down. You're hitting nothing and you're walking, meaning your DPS completely sucks. It would be much better to do a bow and then a two-hander or something similar and use a Restro Staff for DPS only and desperation healing versus kind of mixing a hodgepodge between both. There's some abilities you just can't live without. And another one weakness to the build was stuns. You had a 2-second channel and really no AoE stuns, including your ultimate. The best thing to do is lock down enemies. If you're playing PvP mainly, that's what you need. The mage's ability, Volcanic Ruin, morphed into, I forget the morph, what it's called, Volcanic Ruin. It's an AoE stun that procs a 20% spell damage increase. Let me say that again. AoE stun procs a 20% spell damage increase. Why not use this? The Templars have basically no stuns that are reliable besides the knockback. This is your huge thing you're missing to control enemies. Because even if you're a DPS in a veteran rank dungeon, you're still going to have people jumping on you all over the time. And you're going to need to deal with it. The tank can't do everything in this game. So that's my perspective. When I'm looking at a build and I'm going over long term, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need to execute probably, you're going to need a movement ability, and you're going to need a stun. Do you have those things on your bar? Movement, you got to get out of the way sometimes. You got to be able to finish something when it gets low. You got to self-heal somehow too. So those are some of the things all builds have to have. And look at your build. Are you relying too much on stamina? Are you relying too much on magic? Because let me tell you, in the end game, even if you do have spell symmetry, you're going to need stamina to block, to run, to do something. And there's also some really good defensives in stamina. You can use the armor abilities, even if you're full light. Using that Undominable armor ability, that gives you basically max armor. So use stamina. Use the Fighter's Guild ability if you have to. But being too dependent on one or the other probably isn't good for, unless you're doing the cookie cutter Restro build, which I hate. Was that helpful at all, or did I just ramble on?
Oh, no, totally helpful. I do agree with that. Now, even when you said that, I do have an execute ability on my bar, but you know what? Actually, what might even be somewhat possible to bring in here is that it's not Luminous Shards, it's the other morph.
Blazing Spear.
Blazing Spear does have a stun. It's an AoE stun, but I think it only hits one person, though. That's the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It does have a stun. It absolutely does. But I think it only hits the first person who it registers the damage with.
Yeah.
I don't think it has any other form of AoE stun or anything of that nature. But with that even being said, as a Templar, we're very severely limited on what we can get class-wise for that. Like, we got nothing class-wise.
Right, so you're relying on all your weapon abilities, basically. But the self-heal, Breath of Life, that is pretty powerful. And so I like that you had, I guess let's go with positives. I like that you have critical charge. That's your movement ability, so that can get you to and from targets priority-wise. Because DPSing, you're going to have to get somewhere fast. Time on target. That's your time on target ability. I do like the finisher. You got to have that finisher for when you need to get something down. And Carve generates that ultimate, which basically you can't do on your own as a Templar. So some of those things are really good. But yeah, that was my feedback, and I know I kind of banged on you for a little bit, but I was like, well, if people have came in my mumble and told me what I was doing so wrong, and I still am open all ears to feedback because I'm not the best player in the world, but I've spent probably 500 hours in the game, and I really take pride in researching, what's good and why is it good, and so yeah.
Honestly, I could definitely move that Wrecking Blow off my bar. That's the main thing I should probably just get rid of.
If you took that off and put Volcanic Ruin on, you'd have a really good build.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. Because, again, this bar will be very helpful once... Right now, I would say no. Once instant weapon swap, then I essentially have that. I can heal myself with just, switch, 5, switch back, and there's my heal.
Yep.
Almost like there's not any, I guess, maybe a second of lost DPS from the switch and hitting the button. So it's 2 keystrokes instead of 1. But I would deem that as acceptable to have extra damage abilities when you don't need a heal. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, depending on how the lag works and stuff. Now, what I was having fun doing was the Templar with a bow. And what I did is the 2 knockbacks, the binding jabs and, binding jabs, whatever, the knockback with that, and then also the magnum shots. So you had 2 knockbacks, so really no one could get near me. So that was kind of fun as a Templar.
Mm-hmm.
But
definitely. All right. Well, I think we've spent enough time on the build for right now, and let's go ahead and we're going to move on to the next bit of our podcast, which is the dramatic reading. This week's reading will be a book called Monomyth Shezar's Song. I love Shezar, just so you know. Thais, go ahead and take it away.
This was a new thing that Shezar described to the gods. Becoming mothers and fathers, being responsible, and making great sacrifices with no guarantee of success. But Shezar spoke beautifully to them, and moved them beyond mystery and tears. Thus, the Ager gave free birth to the world, the beasts, and the beings, making these things from parts of themselves. This free birth was very painful, and afterwards the Ager were no longer young and strong and powerful, as they had been from the beginning of days. Some Ager were disappointed and bitter in their loss and angry with Shezar, and with all creation, for they felt Shezar had lied and tricked them. These Ager, the gods of the Aldmer, led by Uriel, were disgusted by their enfeebled selves and by what they had created. Everything is spoiled, and for now and for all time, and the most we can do is teach the elven races to suffer nobly with dignity, chastise ourselves for our folly, and avenge ourselves upon Shezar and his allies. Thus are the gods of the elves dark and brooding, and thus are the elves ever dissatisfied with mortality, always proud and stoic, despite the harshness of this cruel and indifferent world. Other Aedra looked upon creation and were well pleased. These Aedra, the gods of men and beast folk, led by Akatosh, praised and cherished their wards, the mortal races. We have suffered and are diminished for all time, but the mortal world we have made is glorious, filling our hearts and spirits with hope. Let us teach the mortal races to live well, to cherish beauty and honor, and to love one another as we love them. Thus are the gods of men tender and patient, and thus are men and beast folk great in heart for joy or suffering, and ambitious for greater wisdom and a better world. Now when the Daedra lords heard Shezar, they mocked him and the other Aedra. Cut parts of yourselves off and lose them forever? That's stupid! You'll be sorry. We are far smarter than you, for we will create a new world out of ourselves. But we will not cut it off or let it mock us. But we will make this world within ourselves, forever ours, and under our complete control. So the Daedra lords created the Daedric realms, and all the ranks of lesser Daedra, great and small. And, for the most part, the Daedra lords were well pleased with this arrangement, for they always had worshippers and servants and playthings close at hand. At the same time, they sometimes looked with envy upon the mortal realms, for though mortals were foul and feeble and contemptible, their passions and ambitions were also far more surprising and entertaining than the antics of the lesser Daedra. Thus do the Daedra lords court and seduce certain amusing specimens of the mortal races, especially the passionate and powerful. It gives the Daedra lords special pleasure to steal away from Shezar and the Aedra, the greatest and most ambitious mortals. Not only are you fools to mutilate yourselves, gloat the Daedra lords, but you cannot even keep the best pieces, which prefer the glory and power of the Daedra lords to the feeble vulgarity of the mush-minded Aedra.
Wow. Wow, indeed. I like the Aedra, though. That's a shame.
I like the Aedra too, although as always, there are those 3 Daedra that I am in love with.
I know. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is the Community Spotlight. In honor of Update 3 coming out, I am actually going to provide a link in the chat for people. I'm going to do that right now. We are spotlighting TESOElite's ESO Armor Dies section, because what they had done was they had put all the armor dies that they had knowledge of, and there's quite a bit of them actually if you look at it. And if you hover over each specific armor die, it tells you exactly what achievement is associated with it in order for you to unlock that particular die. So if you need something special, like if you're after a very specific die, you can come here and find out what it is that you need to do to unlock it. And actually, I'm going to look at one of the more popular ones here, which is probably one of these blacks. Okay, black is unlocked with an unknown achievement. That's nice.
I thought it was vampire.
No, there's a white one for vampire, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Which is weird. There is a black one here called the what is that?
Iconoclast.
Iconoclast achievement is pretty much like a gray scale black, it looks like, which looks really neat. But yes, so if you're interested in checking out the die system, which you should be, you can hop out here to this website right now, which I posted in chat for you podcast listeners. I'll have it in the description. You can check out all the dies that are available and what achievements you need in order to actually go get them. So maybe you want to do a little bit of front loading right now. So that is what we're doing for the Community Spotlight, and thank you, TESOcast, for everything you do. All right, the next section here I wanted to mention is I kind of want to bring back the Guild Spotlight a little bit, and I don't have it in the notes. And Deltia, this is something I actually want to talk to you about as well. During this part, if you had any kind of recruitment for your guild that you're after, we could do it here. I don't know if you have anything in particular for this week, but if you want to say something, you can.
Well, my guild is, I mean, very small. I don't ever want to have a big guild ever again. I just want people who are like-minded that want to have fun and play veteran rank content and do some PvP. That's all I want to do. So if you're into that, I'm on Aldemary, Dominion, but we're a tight guild. We give each other glyphs. We don't charge for anything. It's not like that. I mean, so if you like that, and kind of an older crowd, I should say, you know, pretty much 30s plus, honestly. If that's something you're into, I'm not saying you have to be that old, but that's kind of what I'm doing. That's Hard Contact, which is kind of the name I've used for a million different guilds. But so if you like something like that, you know, by all means, whisper me at Deltia, but nothing hardcore, and no, like, you have to play every week, blah, blah, blah. But just know that we're going to be playing this game for a long time, so we're not going anywhere.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I kind of wanted to bring this back because some people have been asking about it, and we haven't done it in a few weeks, and I figured now would be a good time to do it because we actually have something else we wanted to announce as well. As always, the Wings of Fate Friends and Family Guild for Tales of Tamriel. If you want to hang out with us and kind of chat with all the hosts that are on the show, Deltia, Thais, myself, some of our other guest hosts, Arkanir, he's in there. Feel free to whisper us. It is at Aggelos, it's Aggelos, or at Tear Eater, Teareater. For a guild invite, it's a casual friends and family guild. We're there to chat. We like to help each other out with dungeons and fun stuff like that. Yeah, so if you're interested and want to be part of that, you can mess for us. Now, with that being said, another member of our community, Kypster, has acquired another guild he calls the Dragonguard, and he is looking for any members who are Ebonheart Pact, because that's what it is. It's an Ebonheart Pact guild, who are looking with the serious intent for veteran rank content stuff, VR dungeons, trials, that kind of stuff. It's an endgame PvE guild for Ebonheart Pact. So we're currently looking for people who are currently veteran rank with a serious intention towards PvE Endgame. So if you have any interest in that, you can contact Kypster. That's, what is it, Kypster in game, and you can chat with him about that. All right. Finally, for the Wings of Fate Friends and Family Guild, I think next Saturday, that's going to be next Saturday, August 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a Explored Cyrodiil with Thais and myself. We're going to go out into whichever campaign that we decide to home. I don't know which it's going to be. And we're going to wander around Cyrodiil, closing dolmens and exploring the Iliad ruins and stuff like that. So if you're interested in playing Ebonheart Pact and want to explore a little bit of Cyrodiil with us, you can come out and do that. All right.
Or come kill you.
Or you can come kill us. Yes, that too. Oh, you know what? That would be a perfect time, Deltia.
Oh, yeah, we're doing.
Have our one-off between you and Thais.
Oh, yeah, we're doing.
Wow, but I don't have my pink armor yet.
Well, the dye system will be open.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right, I'll have to try and get the pink dye so I can fight Deltia. And by then, I will be a vampire, so I might actually stand a chance.
I think he's a vampire too. So.
Oh, man. There's a slim chance I could win, but there's a very large chance I'll have my face beat into the ground.
So come out and watch that, because that'll be great.
Can it be like the old style where everyone just forms a circle around us?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be
cheering?
Fight Club. Yeah,
nice.
It's Fight Club version. So, yeah, that's 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, August 9th. Just chat with us in the guild. We'll tell you what campaign we're part of, because I don't even know what they're called yet. So we'll have to see that. All right. That ends our guild spotlight. We're going to move into our email section. We only had one email this week, and you can go ahead and read that one.
All right, this email is from Esteldian. Awesome show again last night. Was great to actually listen to it live. Nice to have a podcast which is on a UK friendly time. Hope to be listening live more often in the future. Only downside is I don't have the podcast to listen to at work now. Have a great week and enjoy the awesomeness that is Daggerfall Covenant.
Well, we are going through Glenumbra at the moment, and I've actually really liked it as a whole.
It's okay. I bleed for the Pact completely. So I'm enjoying it, but it doesn't beat Ebonheart Pact.
No,
Why are you
Pact
laughing
awesome.
over there, Deltia?
Oh, my. You filthy Nords.
I'm not a Nord. I'm a Breton, but my husband is a Nord, so that is why I bleed for the Pact.
I've been a Nord since Morrowind, so I'm not even one of the Skyrim fanboys that all the other Nords. That everyone's like, oh, you're playing a Nord, you're a Skyrim fanboy. I've been playing Elder Scrolls since Morrowind, so stop it.
Although if I had the choice, I'd be an Argonian. So yes, we bleed heartily for the Pact.
Yes. Yeah, well, she hated the Argonians when we first met. When we first did it, you called them a bunch of drug addicts that you didn't even want to deal with.
Hold on.
Okay, that is true. That is true.
Is Aldemary the last one for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Aldemary is the last. Yeah, it goes Ebonheart Pact, Daggerfall, and then Aldemary.
So they saved the best for the last on Ebonheart. That's good.
No. Every choice that we're presented with where we can kill an elf, I am making sure I choose that option.
No, I think they just saved Aldemary for last because that's when you're finally tired of it and just want to hit VR12, so you just start skipping everything.
Alright, I see how it is.
Alright, well, that is going to bring us to our end of our show, our final thoughts. So let's go ahead and give our final thoughts and let everyone know where they can follow us. Thais, tell us your final thoughts for this episode and where they can follow you and all that fun stuff.
Oh, my final thoughts for this episode. It was, again, like always, it was an awesome episode. I enjoyed the book. That one wasn't nearly as difficult as some of the other ones I've had to read.
Technically, you had 3 books this week.
Oh, yes, I read 3 books. So that was a lot of fun for me. I got to do a lot of reading, which I enjoy very much. And let's see, you can find me in-game at Tear Eater, which is TEAREATER. You can also now follow me on Twitter. Is it at again?
Yep.
At TwitQueen which is Twit Queen THAIS.
Twit Queen. That's hilarious. All right, and Deltia, good sir, tell us your thoughts for the show.
Oh, it was a good show. I mean, I think we're all really excited for the new change and see how the game works, and I think a lot of things will change for the positive, especially PvP even, and then the builds. I think you'll have a lot more variety instead of everyone just distro staff to death type thing. So I think the game's changing the positive, plus a lot of customization, so I'm really excited about that. And, you know, it's a good time to be in this game. A lot of people are coming back to it, even from other games I thought people would never leave. Now they're messaging me going, hey, how do you play Nightblade or blah, blah, blah. So I'm getting excited for the game to transition to the next phase, which is, having Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood, because that's really what a lot of people like Elder Scrolls series for. So, yeah, I just can't wait for Dies tomorrow. Cannot wait. Black and Yellow.
Excellent. I know I'm going to waste, pretty much as soon as it's done patching, no one's going to talk to me for, 2 days as I'm sitting there going through all my dies and playing with it. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Well, I do want to thank my co-host Deltia and and Deltia, you didn't say your other thing where they can find you. You should say that first.
Yeah, whoops, my bad. At Deltia's Gaming on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, everything. At deltiasgaming.com is the website, and so there I just kind of post random blog stuff once a week, and then also do guides when I get time to do stuff that I found out interesting. Like my recent one's a vampire guide, and then finishing up my Dragon Knight guides. And so if you want that sort of thing, you can head over there, and maybe some opinion pieces. I got one on how to balance work and life and gaming, and that's kind of interesting.
Absolutely. I do encourage everyone, if you're a fan of the show, you should go check out deltiasgaming.com. Definitely. Like I said last week, they should, Tales of Tamriel and Deltia's Gaming should be like a rotating homepage for you. That's what you should do. Matter of fact, just open 2 browser windows at the same time. Just look at
Oh my gosh.
That's right. I selfless plug. All right. So I want to thank my co-host again for joining me. And I also want to thank this awesome chat room. I think this is the largest chat room we've ever had, actually, which is awesome. Really great. I want to thank all you guys for coming out and being so active in the chat room. It's really great to see you guys out there. 29. That's awesome. So excited for update 3, what's coming out, everything that ESO is doing. No matter what I'm doing, if I'm playing a single player game or anything like that, no game gives me the feeling that ESO gives me when I log into this game. It's just wow, I am finally home where I want to be.
Yep.
And it is. It's other games, I'll play them for a little bit, and it's okay. As soon as I hop into ESO, I don't even have to be doing anything. I'm just in the zone, looking around, going, "This is nice." And it's a great time to be part of this community. As Delty said, so many of our friends and stuff are coming back to the game after the launch of WildStar and stuff of that. A bunch of people went to go play that, and now I'm actually seeing a lot of people are now coming back from WildStar and went, you know what, that wasn't for me. Blah, 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 blah. Or I just missed ESO so much I didn't think I would, but as soon as I left it, something just wasn't there. And now I want to come back. And it's really exciting to see all these people coming back. And I want to thank everyone who helps us out, supports us, and it lets us continue doing what we enjoy doing so much, which is producing this podcast for you guys. So thank you all for listening to this podcast. If you wish to help support the podcast, feel free to donate via the PayPal link on our website. If you wish to contact us with questions, comments, criticisms, the website for the show is talesoftamriel.com. You can email the show at podcast@talesoftamriel.com. You can follow the show on Twitter at Tales of Tamriel, Facebook at facebook.com/Tales of Tamriel podcast, or on YouTube at youtube.com/Tales of Tamriel, where we have all of these episodes up in a video format, both in an audio-only format and in the stream, so you can rewatch the stream if you want for all the episodes that we have done live. Also, feel free to rate and subscribe to us via iTunes. That helps us out a lot, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Tales of Tamriel. Good night, everybody.